What's the ugliest thing you've ever heard an attractive person say? If my child turned out to have depression, I'd kick them out. Worst thing is that this girl wants a lot of kids. Worked with a very pretty and generally very pleasant woman who said, I just wish his mom would hurry up and die so he can start focusing on me again. Her boyfriend's mom had cervical cancer and did die. My best friend had just gotten engaged and we were at a New Year's celebration with like 20 other friends. One of my guy friends had started dating a new girl and we were all excited to meet her. He introduces her to us and we were talking about how other friend had gotten engaged. A new girlfriend asks to see the ring. My friend holds out her hand and immediately this girl says, oh my god, it's so small. We were all dumbstruck. My friend is a simple girl and would never have wanted a big showy ring. It's just not her. My guy friend just got engaged to this girl who I've always gotten along with and like a lot actually, but I will never forget that comment. First impressions really do stick. Edit. Wording. Went on a date. This guy was way the duck out of my league and I knew it. But he wanted to meet up, so I went for it. I ended up talking about something I'm passionate about and we had been getting along great up to this point. He looks at me and says, you know, you're super ducking annoying when you're excited. Maybe if you were less happy I'd be into this. Combo. This girl who was good looking and popular said if I ever got famous, I would never hug a fat fan. They would be sweaty and gross. I would hate having to be close for a picture too. Now fatso. Full circle. A very pretty girl that lived on my dorm floor in college said of another average looking girl in the dorm, I can't stand her. She acts like she thinks she's pretty. That average looking girl was an awesome person. Very genuine and smart. It made me furious and really sad to think someone thought she wasn't allowed to have self-confidence without being pretty. It doesn't matter what it is or where I got it. You can't afford it anyway. Said by an acquaintance to an elderly lady who asked her what perfume was she wearing and where did she buy it because she smelled so nice. Such ugliness. Bragging about getting a girl he was hooking up with that he knew was really into him to do stuff for him, like his dishes. Coming to pick him up after getting drunk at the bars. Bringing him stuff when he was sick. Went on to talk about how he only hooked up with ugly girls because they would do stuff like that. In a sexual encounter, she looked back and said, you dirty bird, and I was never softer in my life. It was my friend's birthday and some of her hot friends came in from New Jersey. We were exiting a restaurant and this old homeless guy politely asks for some change and this one Jersey girl goes, some of us have jobs. You should go get one yourself, in a real nasty tone. The homeless guy replies, I'm sorry to have bothered you. Have a good night. I was pissed. My interest immediately dropped to 0. I was group mom for my daughter's ballet recital group. Another very attractive mom came to sit by me at rehearsal. She looked around the room at the other dance moms and said, who's here that I hate? Talk about a grown-up mean girl. Whoa. I'm surprised that my water bottle is still on my bike. Ducking homeless in front of a homeless dude who was sitting on a bench. The homeless man then tries to say they aren't all bad people and she scoffs at him. Really lost a lot of respect for that person that day. Like, yeah, there are a lot of itty homeless people, but can we not kick someone when they are down? A Playboy model named Danny Mather Snapchatted a photo of an elderly and obese naked woman in her gym locker room to her followers. Her justification was that it was meant to be posted privately to her friends. That was her defense. Girl in my high school said anyone over 200 pounds should kill themselves. My sister is one of the popular girls in high school and beauty and popularity are the primary focus of her social group. She and her friends refer to unpopular or less attractive people as irrelevants. When I went to high school, that would have got you punched. Several years ago I was in a drugstore checkout line behind two people. The first was an obviously homeless man who was counting out change to buy some food drinks. Right behind him was this super hot blonde woman. Dressed up. Full makeup. The works. The entire time in line, all of 3 minutes probably, she kept making very loud nasty remarks. Something smells awful, what is taking so long, and giving this poor homeless guy dirty looks. The poor guy was just trying to get something to eat and the last thing he needed was her rotten attitude. I was young and didn't have the nerve to speak up. It bothers me to this day that I didn't say anything or step in front of her to pay for whatever he wanted. If that happened today, I'd loudly tell her, well, at least he's not a raving itch. I am Hispanic. Both my parents are from Mexico, and I currently work in SoCal. I don't look Hispanic and I don't bring up my race very often. If you don't know any better, I am just some white guy, minus my Mexican last name. I work with this really cute redhead and I took her out on a date. It was going awesome until she brought up how much she hates Hispanics and how they should all stay in Mexico. Date didn't last long. I left her with the check for dinner and stranded with no ride home because I was so mad. You so and so tried to talk to me. It pisses me off that people think just because they look good they're better than everyone. Went on a blind date with a guy when I was 16. He was nice the whole time. I thought it went well. Talked to the guy who set us up. Date said that I had a nice rat but should never smile in public again. I had crooked teeth that my parents never bothered to correct with braces. That one stung. He's now some loser not paying child support and I'm a wife and mom in a nice home. Who has nice straight teeth now? D. I also never stopped smiling. Why can't the homeless people just go away? I don't want to see that when I go to the park. Oh, sorry princess. I didn't realize their weird desire to exist was interfering with your sitting on a bench scrolling through Instagram. I was in the gym making some gains and there was this very attractive woman working out. You know, the one that you keep looking at cause she's so hot. Well, I walk over to the treadmill and start walking and a few minutes later she gets on the one next to me. There is this woman in there who is about 300 pounds on another treadmill further down. The attractive woman leans over to me and says, "What is that fat itch doing in here? Shouldn't she be at home eating a Twinkie?" Instead she thought I was gonna laugh cause she did one of those fake laughs. I looked at her and said, "That is ducked up that you said that. At least she is in here trying to lose some weight," and I just walked away and got on the treadmill closer to the big woman and told her to keep it up. A year and a half later the big woman lost over 150 pounds and looks great. I knew a semi-attractive girl who made fun of a girl for having cancer. Was on a date with a girl and she made a remark about how homeless people were scum trash. At the time she was technically homeless. I had a pretty woman in my department tell me right to my face that she's going sleep with my husband during a Christmas party. I laughed it off and told her good luck. I went to another room to play poker. My husband was in another room playing pool. She tried everything from flirting to playfully try to take his cowboy hat. He keep on denying her advances. When she wrapped her arms around him while was about ready to take his shot on the table and whispered that she can give me one hell of an unforgettable BJ in a bedroom upstairs. He stood up and told her, "You might be pretty on the outside but you are one ugly old whore on the inside," and left the room. He found me and told me he was feeling ill. He didn't tell me until we got back to our house on what happened at that pool room. I was really proud of him and after that she made my life miserable at work. Anybody who went to college in the South and has heard Southern sorority girls talk about race, politics, poverty has heard the most amazingly ugly things come out of the prettiest little faces you ever did see. A grocery store to a handicapped grocery sacker. EWW. Don't touch my food. I eat these tomatoes. I don't want to be retarded tomorrow. No thanks, with a disgusted look on her face when I tried to get her to sign a petition to save the sharks. But she signed my friends to save the wolves. Let me tell you. 3rd grade me dodge a bullet. Any girl who doesn't wanna save sharks isn't worth your time. Till attractive people hate the homeless. One time, a girl in middle school called me over to her table at lunch. She was a girl I've had a crush on for some time. Excitedly, I stood up wearing a genuine smile and followed her call. I stood next to where she was sitting. We looked at each other for a few seconds as my heart raced. It's called proactive. Use it. I'd like to say that I'm doing better than her now, but I'm simply not. Life is still it. Edit. A bunch of super kind replies have made my night better. Thank you so much. This one dude who gave me his number before I went in for treatment for my eating disorder at 88 lbs. When I got out I was 137 pounds at 5 feet 5 inches. I went out one day with some friends and got a text from the dude that said, "Hey, I saw you in North Hills. I didn't recognize you with all that fat on your body. What happened? You used to be so beautiful." I'm pretty so I don't have to. I've never read a book. She said it like she was bragging. Spanish is the language of poor people. No joke. At my old work I overheard this really sweet looking girl say OMG she needs to get over herself, it's only her dad that died. I gave her the coldest stare and the look of shame on her face when she saw me was satisfying to say the least. Sophomore year of high school, this girl I had the biggest crush on and easily the most beautiful person in the school said, "Why do we even bother educating retards? Talking about a girl with Down syndrome who had given me a hug. They should just be euthanized." That crush didn't last all that long. Reading is stupid. Not an ugly comment, but women who act like learning is dumb just appear less attractive to me. At the beginning of college I had a huge crush on a girl in one of my classes. I was infatuated with her. One day, a guy behind her lightly tapped her on the shoulder to ask if he could see her notes since the board just got erased. Gross. Don't touch me. She immediately gained 500 pounds in my eyes. All attraction was lost. What's bigger, 1,000 or 1,000,000? They were completely serious. When I worked security at a bar, we were collecting covers and this girl came in and said, "I don't pay covers. Look at me. Seriously, look at me and look at you. You should be glad I am here." Beautiful people make ugly children. That's why I don't want children. My sister. Overheard a conversation with a couple of co-workers once. Attractive Jane. "My boyfriend broke up with me. Joe." Or, "That sucks. Why did he break up with you?" Attractive Jane. "He thought I was cheating on him." Beat. Joe. "Were you cheating on him?" Attractive Jane. "Yes. But he didn't have any proof." Me. LMFAO. In high school I was chubby and often kept to myself since I had a terrible stutter. One day the teacher teamed me up with a pretty girl for a project. The first thing she said to me while on her phone was, "You do the work and stuff, Osike." I start speaking but then she says, "Is that a yes tub? Good then." I got super pissed and shouted without a single stutter, "Itch, either you get off the ducking phone and help or I get you an F." The look on her, and everyone else's, face was priceless. Easily one of the most unforgettable moments of my life. Can you believe he thought he had a chance with me? Swipes left. Oh, I love my Jewish friends so much. It's too bad they're all going to hell. Christian girl in my hometown. First date with a very attractive woman. The topic of transgender people had come up. She asked my opinion on the topic. At this point I stated I don't know any personally, but it doesn't bother me one bit what someone else wants to do with their lives. I figured she would nod and agree. Nope. They are destroying our civilization. Every gay and transgender you meet is slowly but surely destroying everything it means to live in harmony with others. What? Edit. Did not expect this much traction. Glad she's getting the anonymous internet bashing she deserves. Used to have eating disorders before I met this girl, and my ex was angry at me once, so she told me, "Why don't you go starve yourself some more?" Fun times. Younger. Socially awkward. Heavier set girl gets the same prom dress as a popular older girl. Older girl bullies her into taking it back and states, "I mean, I look better in it anyways. It's capital A dress." This guy I worked with was always nice to everyone but his wife. At the Christmas party one year, he said to his wife, in front of everyone, "I married you for what you look like, not for what comes out of your mouth." One of the nicest guys I've ever worked with, but he treated his wife like garbage all the time. One of my co-workers, who I thought was brilliant, told me one day, "You're pretty hot for a black girl." Oh, I wish your suicide attempt succeeded so I would have never had to meet you. Said by my ex-girlfriend who met me about a month after I attempted, and came extremely close to succeeding. Suicide and was a big part of me making it through that very dark time in my life. Ironically, this helped me get over her, as it really drove home how much she had changed and how I was holding on to memories of a person that no longer exists. This was a few weeks ago. I hate girls that try to woo me with telling me about their classes and trying to chase a future in the business world. Makes me think they're lesbian. I'd be way more impressed if a girl in a bar came up to me and talked to me about watching a younger sibling or a meal they made recently. Bye bye. Sweetheart, you're like an hourly employee. There's always someone twice as pretty, half as stupid and willing to do your job for half the price and twice the effort. Also my uber attractive old roommate to a Tinder date who wouldn't put out. Really attractive guy in my math class. Another girl enters the room. She's visibly overweight. Attractive guy whispers to his neighbor. Disgusting. When I see someone who's that fat I just want to puke. There's no reason someone should look so repulsive. Double quote. Yeah, guess who's repulsive? Not the overweight girl, who by the way is one of the sweetest, kindest people I know. Attack on the teen crisis floor of a psychiatric ward. I worked there as the education director for a year. Was talking to a nurse about a teenage boy who had been admitted for trying to kill himself because he was gay and being bullied. The tech, whose job is to keep the kids safe and help them cope emotionally in time of crisis, said if he were my kid I'd just beat the queer out of him. He was talking loudly and the boy's bedroom was very close. I reported him the next morning. He still had a job. Not even sure if he got in trouble. You look like Toby Flenderson. If her son turned out gay she would duck her husband in front of him to turn him straight. So I'm a massage therapist, and the amount of other LMTs out there who will body shame clients behind their backs shocks me. One in particular sticks out because she was all over a Facebook massage group talking about a particular client who was obese, and when the client asked if she could feel something, she was wondering how anyone could through all that fat. I'm not saying that larger clients aren't sometimes more challenging to work on, but the difference between muscles, tendons, ligaments, adipose tissue, etc. isn't difficult to feel. It sickens me to my core to think that the person she was talking about could find out what she said. What I've learned in the near decade I've been working is to never forget that every client's humanity. Every person coming in is there for relief. Whether it's stress, physical pain, or a combination thereof. Stripping away that humanity so that they're just fat or hairy or whatever isn't the way to help them. And a lot of clients can tell when they are being judged by a therapist. Put it away or find a new career. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to be such a hot thread. What I can tell you is this. I promise that the judgmental ones are the minority in our profession. Please don't let a few bad eggs spoil your day. Most of us are caring individuals who just want to improve people's quality of life. My mother-in-law. PTSD is fake. It's just a word that gives men an excuse to beat on their wives. She also thinks if you are pale-skinned then you are a pedo. She calls them the underbaked. Like anyone would believe I would let your D anywhere near me. You fat, disgusting pig. Female rapist the night she and her brother almost killed me, ending a 3-year relationship. Shouldn't there be less ugly people since those are the ones that die alone? There was a girl that went to advanced German classes with and she stormed into the classroom screaming, "Ew, X-person is in love with me but he's so hideous and disgusting. I fucking hate teenagers." You are not important. I am important. She was stereotype sweet bubbly blonde. Very attractive. If any of my kids ever turn out gay I will shoot and kill them and bury them in the woods. Then acted all appalled when a guy told her I don't even want kids. If my wife gets pregnant I'm just gonna use a coat hanger to turn her uterus into a blender. He justified his statement with at least I'm killing them before they experience life. Not lying and telling them I love them and raising them just to bury them out back. He told me if I lost weight got to his preferred dress size he would give me the world. Thanks but no thanks. Damn, this is going to get buried, but one of the girls in my cohort is pretty much perfect. 10/10 for sure. When I was getting to know her, I noticed her phone background was a picture of her and her boyfriend. She saw me looking and she said, "OMG, that's my boyfriend. I know. He's ugly, but I only date ugly guys because I know they won't leave me." It's not only ugly of her to say, I actually thought he was decent BTW, but I realized afterward that I put way too much importance on my own physical appearance. I used to think that if I were thinner, if my nose wasn't weird, if my chin wasn't big, etc, that life would be easier. I couldn't shake this thought until I heard her say that she's miserable and self-conscious all the time and she's as good as they get. I no longer get self-conscious and I'm actually kind of happy with how I look now. There was a guy I had a crush on in high school who I thought was really attractive. We were hanging out and I opened up to him that I had suffered from anorexia and was still recovering. It was something I only told close friends and family. He said, "Oh, I never would have known because you've never been that skinny. No offense." Hurt me more than any words ever have. Didn't think he was so attractive after that. Edit. Wording. I've had a co-worker imply that my company gave a lucrative promotion to another woman because of her peasant looks and poor upbringing, so it looked good for the company. No, you piece of it. She got it because she worked hard, while you got this job because your father was the head of the division. From the ex. Your problems should be kept to yourself. Literally, my uncle died. I worked with a lady who saw a guy with a facial deformity at the mall. She told me that it was so rude for his caregiver to bring him out in public because it makes normal people uncomfortable. Duck you, Rosa. I'd love it if you went and killed yourself. A decent looking ex-friend of mine said to a kid who told her he'd love to buy her a drink at a bar. I was so shocked at her response that I couldn't do anything but stand there with my mouth open. But the friendship ended right after that. That happened 10 years ago during my sophomore year of college, and I'm still haunted by the fact that I didn't say anything on his behalf. Went out for my cousin's birthday with him and a few of his friends. Some were people I had met before, but one was a pretty girl he was interested in. We ordered food and he headed outside to smoke. And because he was with family and friends, he felt okay leaving his wallet at the table, which should have been fine. But the girl he was into picked up his wallet, pulled out a recent pay stub he had in there, and then laughed and said, "That's all? Duck you. He may not make a lot, but he works hard." I'm so happy that it never ended up working out between them. I was making small talk with a co-worker and asked her if she had ever read one of my favorite authors. She looked at me like I had said something offensive and said, "Oh no, I don't read. That's for ugly girls." Bad enough to have this attitude, but even worse to say it to another woman's face.